Okay, next we have Rosa Serratore. She is the district's math coordinator for the Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District.
Too many things in my hands here. Good morning. Data. What do people usually think of when they hear the word data? Well, they're probably thinking of the fact that there are probably numbers, charts, and graphs involved, and that behind the charts, graphs, and data, numbers, that you also have a story that goes with the charts and data. For me, I thought, when did I start using the word data more than data? I was one of those who also used the word data. Somehow that's gone out. In my math education world, research points to the need to understand a part-whole relationship in order to understand conceptually numbers and problem solving. And in the grand scheme of things, nothing makes any sense unless there's a context to the parts and the wholes, no matter which way you look at it. Schools and school districts are looking at a lot of both qualitative and quantitative data. They have a lot of teacher input, various reports we read. There are GPA, graduation rates, attendance records, kindergarten data collection, if they're ready or not, the language spoken at home, the educational level of the family, and then of course the federal and state accountability measures. In California, we have the Smarter Balanced Assessment Consortium, SBAC, and they have the biggest piece of data that is the most public in terms of students' achievement in math and English. And this is how our California students fared in grades 3 through 8 and 11 in mathematics this past spring. We really have not arrived at optimal math learning in the state of California yet. I use the word yet, the growth mindset word, because part of our content standards also are coupled with process standards now. We want students to learn to grapple and persevere with the problem solving, be able to justify and provide reasoning for their solutions, to really look at the structure of mathematics, to think about what are they strategically using as tools to solve that math, and teachers to be explicit with sharing those tools and having kids learn how to use that mathematical disposition so that you will be able to learn that, be able to solve that problem, just not for that one particular quiz, test, or whatever the case may be, but that you can transfer that learning elsewhere to future math problems. Well, the SBAC folks also break it down a little bit more, and I thought this group would probably be interested to know how the future prove-it data analysis is going to happen with our students right now. This shows us how they do modeling and data analysis, how well they show and apply their math problem solving. And here the statistics also point to a lot of room for growth. And then this data gets further broken down into parts. And you can look at it based on how did English learners fare, how did students with learning needs fare. I chose to highlight how our ethnic and socioeconomic levels performed. Partly because research also points to the fact that the higher your socioeconomic level, it's a predictor of having higher achievement. So I've underlined the not economically disadvantaged. We have our Latino, Hispanic group, not economically disadvantaged, the African American group not economically disadvantaged, and our white group also. And this slide made me say, one more time, why is the data or the data looking like the not economically disadvantaged faring in the Latino and African American groups? They're on par with the white economically disadvantaged group. So oftentimes data will give you more questions than answers. Chief among them in my mind are our overall expectations of students. It might bring to mind, and this has come up probably during this conference, what opportunities exist for authentic student engagement? To what extent are the curriculum and instruction culturally relevant for all kids? How is that academic language taught and practiced throughout the school day? It's not learned by osmosis, and it will make an impact. And how is the family-school connection built and deepened over time? These are all variables we keep hearing make a difference. I also question having it so disaggregated into parts, this data, does it then make us label children, and then our expectations are out of whack to some degree for some. You do want all your parts to be well so that your whole is well. When you look at the data, districts and schools, because you can pull this also to the classroom level, teachers have access to this data at the classroom level, this big public piece of data. It also brings you to think of how are you evaluating your programs, your instruction, kids' learning, and how is funding used. In this election year, you'll hear the federal politicians running on an education platform, but really the parts to the entire school funding in California at least, and even in the whole United States of America, the biggest bucket is your 50 state boards of education, not necessarily the federal. The federal is relying, helps us with the nutrition program, the free and reduced lunch, which is very important. But there too, you have some self-assessment data that's reported, and if it's not accurate, I don't know about you, but I don't think very well when I'm hungry. So if you don't have the right data there to know who to help subsidize the lunch program, then that doesn't work. And in years past, it seemed that as kids got older, there's that stigma, and they didn't want to, hey, I get the one that I pay a little less, and my friend pays full lunch. So the solution there has been to use a card where you can't tell. You just swipe the card, and that's a way to address that. So the data helps you with that. Materials nowadays, I'm hearing a lot about adaptive learning, a lot of technology out there. Your materials now also have that technology component, which is not cheap, and the bucket of money is not pie in the sky, I guess. And then you also have inequities that can occur because you have local communities or PTAs or ed foundations who can fund at differing levels. So what you're seeing more of is that people are doing centralized fundraising so that you prioritize where you put your money. I'm going to end with a lot of these speeches ask for a call to arms, a call to action, and mine is to make sure that we look at data more holistically so that it's not just one big public piece of information that's out there, because you want all the parts to add up to a great whole for all kids. PBS NewsHour did a great session a while back on walking in students' shoes, and it was basically shadowing a kid for a day. An assistant principal in Chicago did that, and that was a form of data collection that was very powerful. And I've shown it to our administrators, and it seems to perk their interest in wanting to do the same. That'll give you just as much, maybe even more information than some of our other accountability data. Thank you.